Hi, guys. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're a little bit early, so I'm just going to wait a bit. Farouk. Stephen McCain is in this class? Holy cow, life is good. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 16. Got 15 people. I think I'm still waiting for. How many people are in this class? Oh, no. 329. 48. Holy cow. So we've got 48 people in this class. Yikes. I wish we could be face to face. It's so much more fun that way. Zach Ogden showed up. Zach Ogden from Ogdenburg. Good to see you again. Julia Waters, I know. Will is just Will, so who the hell knows who that is? Our class is Addie Strong, I see, which is great. Great to know. Trevor DiCarlo, fine-looking young man. Morgan Bailey. See, a name like Morgan could go either way. I'm guessing it's a woman. Stick with that. Sydney. Sydney's pretty much a woman's name now. They've stolen that name from men. See, this is the period in the class when I usually make fun of your names, but you're not here, so it's just not nearly as much fun as it used to be. That looks like Christy. Is that Christy Trask? Yes. Tristy Trask shows up. Yay, Christy. Ison? I think Ison wins the award for the most distant person in this class. She's in Azerbaijan, is that right? Ison,
Yeah.
Azerbaijan?
Yeah, and it's like 11:30 p.m. right now.
11:30 p.m. Good Lord. Wow. I'll be drunk by then. I'm just kidding. Jesus, you people. Sade, you know, I loved your album back in the 80s. It was one of my favorites. No, I'm serious. No. Down on your luck, eh? Went back to school. Pipe's gone. Have to go back to school. Okay. I get it. We're all looking for a career change. Giovanni Jupiter. Absolutely love that name. Do we get a roll here or something? Oh, participants. Oh, I do get a roll. Life is good. Rename. Oh, I can rename people. Here we go. I can put you back in the waiting room if I want to. Man, it's called power. The kind of power. These people. Zoom chat. Okay. Okay, so one thing you guys should do is open up your chat because people can ask questions that way, and I'll have my chat window open all the time so we can. Oh, Carlo's here. Decolor, Carlo. So I'll be watching that chat thing for questions as we go along. It's going to be pretty important for me to get feedback from you because we're not face to face. I can't tell, if what I'm doing is making any sense to you or whatever. Most of you have your video off. That's okay. I don't mind. I'd rather it was on, but that's fine. So typically when I give a class in person, it takes a long time because I'm writing the notes on the board. We don't have that here. I'm going to be giving you the PowerPoints. The notes are in Moodle. Everything's there for you. So I'm just going to be reading through it. I think our hour and 15-minute class will probably take a half an hour. So I'm glad that that chat is up there. If there's something you don't understand, please ask. If I'm just going too fast or you just want me to repeat something, excuse me, go ahead and do that. If you want me to stop burping, that's okay. Glad to see Matt Gamellan's here. Seeing some faces. Dr. Jupiter, good to see you. The king of all biology students, right? Something like that, Jupiter.
Yep.
Caitlin Bajelko. Do we say the B or is it just Jelko? Caitlin. You can ignore us. That's okay. That's what Zoom's about.
You do B and the J.
Okay, Bajelko. Okay, gotcha. Is that Ukrainian?
I have no idea.
Okay, we've had this discussion before, haven't we?
Yes.
Okay. It's good to get old because you can have the same conversations over and over again. They're just as much fun. I can tell the same jokes over and over again. All right, well, it's 5 minutes late. We've got 36 out of 48 people. Why don't we just go ahead? So if you can, pull up your syllabus. If you can't, I think I'm going to share it. Share screen. Okay, so currently sharing. Oh no, that's notes. Sorry, hang on. Stop share. Share screen. Oh, Lord. Oh, come on, man. Come on, old man. Get your shit together. All right, let's do this. Ah, there we are. Okay, here is the syllabus. So your instructor is Donald Slish. That's me. Oh, the phone number there is pretty irrelevant because I won't be in my office all semester. Let me change that right now. You can write this down, but I'll upload this later. I am in Vermont. That's my cell phone number. Please don't share it with anyone. I don't like people to begin with. I don't want anybody calling me. No, but if you need me, you can text me or call me on that number. Email is probably the best way to get to me. I do check my email way too much. Hopefully you've got your textbook. It's going to be important, especially when we're not face-to-face, to have that textbook so you can read it. This is the link. I'm pretty sure the link works. If you have any questions about the textbook, whether it's downloading it or it's not working, this isn't working, that isn't working, contact Cognella because I don't have any control over it. I sent it all to them and they have it, so they're the people who can help you on that end. We will be having Zoom lectures at our regularly scheduled class times, 3:30 on Mondays and Wednesdays. And I'll be recording these Zooms, so if you can't make it, I think you should try to make it. If you can't make it, then I'll record them, put them on YouTube, post them up on Moodle, so it will be there for you. So what are we going to talk about? Good question. I haven't thought about it yet. Oh, wait, yes, I did. Here it is. Introduction. So we'll start out, the way this whole class goes is like the first half is all just basic information about the body and how the body works. The second half then is we take drugs and we muck it up. We find out if you block this, what happens? If you block that, what happens? And that's kind of what I love about pharmacology. It's like, basically it's, you know, I guess when I was growing up, people talked about drugs and it always sounded like magic. And it's not magic. Every drug has its own specific mechanism of action. And that's what I love most about this class is mechanism of action. How does that drug work? Binds to some protein receptor, stops or activates the function of that, and then that changes everything from there downstream. So the first half is all about that, like how do these things work? Second half then, we're going to throw some drugs in. So chapter 1 is very different from all the other ones. It's a little less, it's a little more, and it's a little less. No, what am I trying to say? It's a little more dry or esoteric or kind of theoretical. And it's basically, what does your body do with the drug? You take the drug, there's a lot of different ways you can take the drug. How does it get into your body? How does it get spread around your body? How does the body then get rid of it once it tries to get rid of it? How does that happen? So that's what pharmacokinetics is all about. And it's important because the effect of the drug can be affected by how fast it gets into your body, how long it stays in your body, what happens to it when it's in there. It can be metabolized into something different. So pharmacokinetics is really important for all of our drugs. And then 2, 3, and 4 is all kind of like brain stuff. So chapter 2 is what is the structure of a neuron? How do neurons work? How do neurons encode information? How do they pass information back and forth? Chapter 3 then is mostly about the synapse in the neuron, between neurons, and how drugs then can affect neuronal activity by binding to these receptors and either blocking them or activating them. So that's the first 3, and then our first exam is September 16th. I think we're going to have way more time than we need between now and September 16th. So I may have a review on the 14th, which would be the Monday before. Okay, so that's exam 1. Exam 2 then, again, basic stuff, neuroanatomy. How is the brain put together? And we start at the lowest part, the brainstem, and which is your simplest, just housekeeping, maintenance kind of part of your brain. It just keeps your body functioning. Move up to the more complicated stuff, the emotions, up to the biggest part, which is your thinking processes. So we'll just build a brain like that from the bottom to the top. And we'll talk about the function of each of those sections as we go through. And then the next thing is the emotions, limbic system. What is the limbic system for? It's about your emotions and directing your behavior, controlling your behavior. And that is how addictive drugs will all become addictive, by controlling this center in your brain. The sixth chapter then is about cognition and how you think. You know, how do you think when you're just letting your mind wander versus when you're really focusing on a task somewhere? And how do you switch back and how and why do you switch back and forth between these different modes of thinking? So that's exam 2, which is big brain stuff, the whole brain anatomy, the emotional part of your brain, and the cerebral cortex part in the critical thinking stuff. And that will be October 14th. We don't get Indigenous Peoples Day off anymore, which is fine because we get done a week earlier, but we get the whole Thanksgiving off instead of going away and coming back, so that's cool. So October 14th then will be that second exam. And then we're going to start mucking it all up. So ethanol is going to activate and block specific receptors at low dose, and at high dose, it's just going to muck the whole thing up. So we'll talk about that. And opiates, then activating specific receptors, and CNS stimulants like cocaine and amphetamines. So these are all your addictive drugs. So these all affect that addictive center of the limbic system. So we'll talk about how they do that and why they do that. And then exam 3 is November 4th. And I think you'll have about 2 more weeks on campus, and then 2 weeks off campus after that, after Thanksgiving. So for this last section, then we talk about drugs that affect mainly your cognition. So cannabis, I'm sure some of you are familiar with this drug. Some people might call it marijuana. I don't know. I don't know what you crazy kids are calling it these days. And then hallucinogens. Oh, crazy thought. You know, it's illegal to have drugs on campus, but I'm in Vermont. I could be smoking pot right here. Couldn't do a damn thing about it. That would be fine, except my wife would probably kill me. Okay, so, and then hallucinogens, which there are 4 different categories of hallucinogens. Some of them are extremely benign, except for the fact that they're crazy. Others are pretty dangerous. So we'll talk about 4 different categories of those. And then our last exam will be in finals week. So again, there's no final, it's just 4 exams. The last exam is just on the last 2 chapters. That should lower some stress. Unless you want a comprehensive final, we can do that. Just let me know. If you want everything to be on that final, I will do that. A lot of people prefer that. See, I'm not getting a laugh track coming back. Typically, I can see some laughs coming from these people when I say that. Thank you. Thank you for laughing, Christy. You just got 2 bonus points.
Oh, okay. I'm at work, by the way, so if you see me run away really fast, it's
Okay.
not you. It's not you.
Somebody's dying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, so grading, here's our grading scale. I think someone asked me this. In some classes, this is 94, sometimes it's 95. Let's leave it at 94, because looking at your faces, I kind of like you guys, so let's leave it 94. The A to A minus, okay. So you've got your 4 exams. Oh, here's another thing you need to know about. We've got weekly quizzes. There'll be one this week, and every week that we don't have an exam. So the quizzes open up, because I know everybody's on a different schedule. So they open up Monday or Friday morning at 8 a.m. and they close Sunday night right before midnight. So there's one every week. I know sometimes you can't make one or you do really crappy on one. That's fine. You get to drop 2. Okay. So if you missed one, please don't ask to do it again. Just suck it up and accept the fact that was one of the ones you're going to drop. So I dropped the lowest 2. I can drop the highest 2 too if you want, but you'll have to let me know about that. Attendance. So, here we are. None of us are attending. I guess Zoom would be considered attendance, but I'm not like taking attendance. So, you could come or not come. I'll be posting the videos if you want to watch it later. Although I do have some ad revenue coming in on YouTube when you watch my video there. I wish I could retire. All right, so that's attendance. You could read that. Withdrawal policy is really not up to me. Basically, before class course selection is over, you can withdraw anytime you want. After that, it's up to the university to let you out. Bibliography, there's some comics there. Okay, so that's the running of the class. Okay, any questions about that?
Yeah. How are the exams set up?
Okay, so the exams are going to be online. So there'll basically be two parts to the exam. First half is multiple choice. It's worth 50 points. It's, I believe, I don't remember now, 10 multiple choice questions. I'll have to look into that. Maybe I can add more questions to make them worth less per question. No, I think 10 is good because you have 15 minutes for that. And then you've got the rest of the period, which would be another hour for your essay questions. So the essay questions would be an hour, and there's 5 essay questions per test. So you've got, your multiple choice and your essay, each are with 50%. And they will be in our class time. That's something I should tell you. So they will be at our normal class time on those dates that I mentioned. Okay. If you have a problem with that, let me know. We'll see what we can do. Any other questions? Comments? There are some people here I don't know. See Natasha? Yay, Natasha. We don't have to see your face. That's okay. I don't take it personally. 37 people here. Ah, there's Natasha. Hi there. Are you in Plattsburgh or are you home?
Yes. No, I'm in Plattsburgh.
You're in Plattsburgh. I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay. So, all right. So any questions, or should we just go ahead and attack? Shall we attack this? Okay, let's go ahead and get started, as long as there's no questions. So, what should I share first? Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is showing my notes and talking about my notes as I go along, and then I will maybe pop over to the online textbook. I may go to PowerPoint for figures, but this is my first time doing this way, so I'm not really sure what's going to be the best way to do it. But again, chat me up if something doesn't make sense. Might be a good idea to have the notes yourself there next to you to refer to. Okay, here are my notes. Okay, everybody ready? Excited? Edge of your seats? Smile, Gamelin. There it is. Okay, let's go. Pharmacokinetics. So pharmaco means drugs. Kinetics is all about rates. So pharmacokinetics is about the rate of the drug going into your body, the rate of the drug going out. Because whenever whenever your body's perturbed in any way, it tries to get back to homeostasis. So when you add this drug, it shifts you away from homeostasis, and then the body works to get rid of that drug to get back to normal. And so the change in the concentration will affect the time to onset of effects, how long they're going to last, the duration, and also how long it lasts in your body after it's not having any effect anymore. That's really important for drug detection, especially illegal drugs, and when they're looking to see if you have taken that drug or whatever. So persistence in the body is also an important function of pharmacokinetics. So it's 4 processes in pharmacokinetics: ADME, 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 ADME. Remember ADME: absorption, distribution, metabolism, and elimination. So we spend a lot of time on absorption. That's basically how does it go from outside your body to inside your body into your bloodstream. So absorption's all the way to the bloodstream. Once it's in your bloodstream, we're in distribution. So the cardiovascular system is passing it around. So just about every cell in your body will see the same concentration of the drug. Big difference being your brain. So we'll talk about how things get into your brain and how your brain stops things from getting into it. Metabolism. So most of the metabolism of the drug is going to happen in the liver. Some happens in other tissues. It depends on the drug, really. Something like cocaine is an ester, which is easy to break down, so it happens everywhere. Breaks down really fast. But mostly metabolism is going to happen in the liver, and that typically makes the drug inactive, but it could also activate some chemicals into drugs. So we'll get into that. Elimination then is how does it get out of your body? So it could be metabolized down into something that the body then turns into fat, like alcohol. I mean, if you could see my belly after COVID time, you know that alcohol gets turned into fat. That's not funny. Who's laughing? That was not a joke. Although if it's, and also you take alcohol in a very large concentration, so that gets turned into fat pretty bad. But usually it'll be converted into something that your kidney can get rid of, and then you lose it through your urine. Some things are excreted through the feces, but not too many things. So mainly we're talking about the kidneys there. Okay. And part of metabolism and elimination is half-life. How long does that drug last in an effective concentration in your body? How long does it last for detection? Okay. Any questions about the intro there? Okay, so absorption. Absorption is about two things specifically. One is something we'll talk about with every drug. It's very important for the drug is what is the polarity of that drug? And which means is it going to be soluble in lipid or is it going to be soluble in fat? So you've got in your body, you've got water compartments and you've got fat compartments. The water compartment is, hang on a second, let me pull the chat up because I don't see my chat now, just in case there's questions I'm not seeing. Chat. Are these notes posted online? Yes, they are in Moodle, so you can get these notes there. Okay, so what the hell was I talking about? Okay, so you've got fatty parts of your body, right? And you can, when you think of fat on your body, you think about extracellular or extra subcutaneous fat, right? That's one big fat compartment. But all of your cells have got membranes, and those membranes are made of lipid. So that's also part of your fatty compartment. Your water compartment, your blood is one of your main water compartments, but all cells have got cytoplasm, and that's a water compartment too. So we'll talk about the two compartment model later in this class, but basically the drug, when it goes into your body, some of it will be in the water parts of your body, some of it will be in the fat parts of the body. And we can kind of theoretically separate those two and call it two compartments of your body. But the polarity of the drug is really important because it'll determine where it's going to be in those two different parts. Cell membranes are made of lipid, and okay, so we'll get into amines and acids next, but let me show you some of my high-class, expensively made videos here. Share different screen. Share screen. Okay, so the first animation here to share, figure 1.2. Okay, so this is how they determine the polarity of a drug. It's called the partition coefficient. So you take a drug like either X over here, which is a polar drug, or Y over here, which is a non-polar drug. You wouldn't do them both at the same time. I'm just doing that to make it look cool. So you would take one drug and you dissolve it or drop it into this thing, shake it up really good, let it come to equilibrium, and then determine, is it going to be more likely to be in the water part or in the fat part? So here you can see the Y's are non-polar, so they're mostly staying up here in the oil. Occasionally you'll see a Y slip down into the water solution. So if you measured this, you would say, well, this has got a partition coefficient that's going to make it go into the oil solution more. The X, you can see, has got a positive charge, so it's definitely going to be in this polar water, but occasionally one will go up there. So polarity is never like a black or white thing, like it's polar, it's non-polar. It's always somewhere in between. Water is probably your most polar substance ever, and then like hydrocarbons are your most non-polar substance. Hydrocarbons like gasoline, okay? So those are kind of your two extremes, and everything's going to be somewhere in the middle. So let's stop this. No. And why is this important? I'm glad you asked. So here, it affects how a drug is going to be distributed then, because here, this X is a non-polar drug, and it can't get into the cell. This lipid bilayer here is your plasma membrane. Y, you can see, can go anywhere it wants. It goes through the membrane, comes inside, goes through the membrane, goes outside, can go anywhere it wants to go. So this will be important when we talk about the kidney, but also in drugs getting into your brain. So that's pretty important. What do we got next? Okay, so here's the next thing to talk about. And my animation, unfortunately, isn't working here. Let me try something. Let me try to get a better animation up here. I know you can't see this, which is fine. See if this is going to work. This is an animation that keeps blowing up on me for some reason. Yeah, it's not what I want.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. So let me share this with you. Where are you? Where are you people? Trying to find my Zoom again. Zoom. Okay. Share screen, share screen. Here we go. Is that it? That's it. Okay. So here's another thing you have to keep in mind with drugs. So let's keep going down. I'm sorry, I'm trying to bring the chat window up. It keeps going down on me. Okay, so here's another thing you need to know about polarity, and that is that, as you know, organic chemicals have got functional groups on them. And these functional groups, some of them, your acids and your amines, can be polarized or not polarized. So when an acid does not have a hydrogen on it, it's charged. So now it's really, really polar. When a base, you've got two free electrons here on this amine. When it doesn't have a hydrogen, it's not charged, so it's not polar. Well, I wouldn't say not polar, but less polar anyway. And then if you take these two chemicals, you put them into a basic solution. Put them into an acidic solution. The acid picks up a proton. Now it becomes nonpolar. And the base picks up a proton, and that gives it a positive charge, so now it's polar. Okay? So drugs will have, different functional groups on them, and the polarity will depend on what the condition is. So if we put this back into base, now our amines are nonpolar and our acids are polar. Put them in acid, and they switch. Put them in base, and they switch. Put them in acid. See, I can do this all day. Kind of like it. Tell me when you're tired and I'll stop. All right, all right, all right. Yes, someone says they're tired of it. Okay. So, all right, so why is this important? Why do I care, Dr. Slush? Here's an example of how that can be important. Say you've got a drug that's an acid, like acetylsalicylic acid, right? Aspirin. It's an acid. Usually you get it in a salt form. You take that, because the salt form is going to dissolve easier in solution. So you drop that salt solution into your stomach, and you've got this uncharged acid, right? pH 1.5. So there's a lot of protons around here. When it's charged, it can't get into your body. But when it picks up a hydrogen, now it's nonpolar, and it goes into your body. But once it's in your body, now it's in a more basic solution, and it loses that proton, and now it can't get back out. So that movement across the membrane is going to be unidirectional. It's really going to be absorbed a lot in your stomach because it's an acid when you take it, but then it gets protonated, and the protonated version then can travel across your membranes in your stomach and into your body. Once it does, it then becomes unprotonated. Now it's polar, and it can't go back. So you're going to have a unidirectional movement of this thing into your body. So that's why why these amines and acids are important in terms of polarity. Let me pull that up in the notes. Oops. Sure. Stop. Okay, so here in your notes, I talk about acids and amines. So your weak acids and weak bases then will be affected by the pH of the solution they're in, and that will affect how they move across membranes. And also, we'll talk about cocaine, like the difference between crack cocaine and regular powder cocaine is whether it's an acid or whether it's protonated or not. So if it's not protonated, then it's hard to get it into your body. So you snort it, not a lot of it really gets absorbed. If it's not if it is protonated, then it's nonpolar and it goes in really quickly. So cocaine and amphetamines.
Great. And Brent, would you be able to send a MET intercept down through 7? It's going to be a 52-year-old female difficulty breathing.
Epinephrine. I say epinephrine.
Yes, they're coming. They're leaving 666 Grove Street, Brandon.
Okay, so that was Christy. She's got a call coming in. She's an EMT. Okay, so that's acid and base, and that's polarity. Is there anything else I want to say about that? Nope, that's about it. Okay, so we'll talk about it on and on again all semester because it's so important, but that's the basics of it. Questions? Let's stop share for a second. Any questions about that? Looking at my chat. Anyone want to chat me up on that? No? Okay. This is good. Okay, so the second thing that's important in absorption is what is the route that you're taking this? How is it getting into your body? A lot of different ways that can happen. Probably the most common one is an orally absorbed drug. And orally means it's not your mouth, but your stomach. So taken by mouth, goes down to your stomach, and then typically it's not going to be absorbed until it gets into your small intestine. Now, I need to take a little time out here because my computer just told me it's about to die. I got to get my charger. I'll be right back. no. Oh. Hang on, everybody. We're moving inside. The plugs out on the porch are old, and I can't plug my computer into them. Ta-da. Okay. Oh, did that glow behind me? Let's go this way. Okay. Let's have a show of hands here. How many like the subtle way that light comes across my face in this shot? Matt likes it. Good. That's all that matters. Okay. All right. Orally, taken by mouth. I think I just got chat. Chat. Open chat. Why does the chat keep closing? I don't know. Chat's not opening for me for some reason. Oh, there it is. Okay. Looks great. Thanks, Alexis. You just got 5 bonus points. Okay. So orally. And in his notes, I wrote these a long time ago when this was a gen ed class. So I figure, well, while we got these non-major students here, let's teach them about the GI tract. So that this isn't that important, but basically your stomach is there to break stuff down. And the function of the stomach is such that it will hold on to food for a while and mix it and mix it and mix it. And it decides how much of that food should go into your intestine at a time. So if everything in your stomach went right into your intestine, you wouldn't be able to digest it very well because it's too much all at once. There wouldn't be much surface area, right? One big blob and you're only affecting on the surface. So the stomach mixes it up and then lets a little bit out at a time, breaking down that surface area. That's really important, so we'll get back to that. There's a little bit of absorption here in the stomach, but not very much. Some alcohol can be absorbed here. Some drugs will be absorbed. Proteins are going to be digested, so that's why, you know, if you see you see these supplements you can buy, and some of them are enzymes or proteins or whatever. You know, you swallow it, goes in your stomach, it gets digested. Don't waste your money on them. Only small molecules can be absorbed, and most of them are not. So a little bit of absorption, not really much. Okay, small intestine. This is where your absorption happens. So in the small intestine, you've got your pancreas secreting enzymes that are going to break down food. You've got your liver secreting bile, which is going to break big chunks of fat down into small chunks of fat that can be absorbed. And a lot of drugs will come in that way, being absorbed via chylomicrons, they're called, really small particles of fat. Okay, highly vascularized. There's a lot of blood vessels here for the absorption. Now, the thing about your small intestine is everything you absorb from your small intestine goes right to your liver first. So that's an opportunity for your body to get rid of toxins before they actually get into your blood. And we call that the first pass effect. We'll see that again in a minute. But that's really important, first pass effect. Large intestine then, not a lot of absorption here because usually by the time things get to your large intestine, everything's been absorbed. But if there's anything there, it can be absorbed. Mainly your large intestine is reabsorbing water and concentrating down what's left there. And then rectum, short term, hopefully controlled storage there, controlled release. It's not fun when it's not controlled. Another thing about the rectum is 2/3 of it is beyond first pass. So only the first third of the rectum is their absorption that goes through first pass. So the other 2/3, if you have a drug in your rectum, will go directly into your bloodstream. And that's important. We'll talk about that too. And why that's important in the next section, rectal absorption of drugs. Okay, what is the advantage of oral absorption? It's easy, right? Pop a pill, drink some water, boom, it goes down really easy. Another advantage is typically the onset of the effect is really slow. And especially in a clinical setting, you want it to come on slow, because if someone's going to have side effects, they're going to be allergic to the drug or something, you got time to take care of that. If it comes on fast, it's precipitous. It's hard to figure out, hard to catch the side effects before it's too late. What else? Okay, it'll stay in your system longer. We'll see this later. Like basically, it takes longer to peak, and then once it peaks, elimination starts. Well, during the absorption, you've got elimination happening at the same time, but once it peaks, then it will be eliminated. So that whole period of absorption is time that the drug is in your body and still getting higher without it going away. And well, we'll see when we get to graphs, you'll see why that makes it last longer, but it does. Tend to need a higher dose. And I don't have that here. Oh, disadvantage. Maybe it's under disadvantage. No, it's not. You need a higher dose orally than if you inject it or something, because that slow absorption means it doesn't peak as high. And we will talk about that. Okay, disadvantages. You know, when you watch these commercials on television for drugs, the number one side effect they say with almost all of them is could cause stomach upset. Why is that? Well, your stomach's going to see the highest concentration of it. So if it's going to be absorbed in the stomach, like that aspirin we talked about, you're going to get a really high concentration of it in your stomach. So if you're going to see side effects, that's a good place to find them. Another thing that's really, important, an important disadvantage of oral absorption is the amount that gets absorbed is going to be variable. So if you take that drug, dissolve it in a solution, inject it in the veins, boom, it's all there. It's in your bloodstream. If you swallow it in a pill, some of it might not be absorbed at all. It'll just pass right out through the other side. That's called bioavailability. How much of it can be absorbed by your body? If you've got food, this is the big thing. If you've got food in your stomach, it's going to change how fast it's absorbed. So you probably all know this. If any of you who drink alcohol know this, if you drink, say, 2 shots of liquor on an empty stomach, boom, you get drunk really fast. If you drink 2 shots on a full stomach, it may not affect you much at all. And that's because of that process of the stomach slowly releasing things into the small intestine. It doesn't get absorbed till it hits the small intestine. So if you've got a big meal there, you put a drug in it, the drug gets mixed up within that meal, and then a little bit at a time goes to the small intestine, and it comes in really slowly. If your stomach's empty, gets passed in the small intestine, it all gets absorbed really fast. So the rate of absorption of a drug can vary from 10 minutes to an hour and a half, 2 hours, based on how much is in your stomach. So that makes a big difference. And that'll be really important, i.e. it may be on the test. And then another really important thing of oral is the first pass effect I just talked about. So everything you take is going to go to your liver, and your liver is going to break it down before it allows it to go into your bloodstream. Some things are metabolized really, really fast in the liver, like cocaine. If you swallow cocaine, most of it's going to be broken down in your liver really quickly and will never hit your bloodstream. That's why people don't take cocaine pills. It doesn't really work well. It's a waste of drugs. Some things will not be metabolized at all in the liver, and so it'll all just get passed into the bloodstream. So there's a lot of variability there too. And also there's a lot of variability between different people. Everybody's liver is a little different based on their genetics. So that, if you're a doctor prescribing, adds a lot of variability to the drug concentration in the blood. Also, when we get to metabolism, we'll talk about if you're taking 2 drugs at once, the metabolism of one drug can affect the metabolism of the other drug, and then you got a lot of variability going on there too. And finally, the final disadvantage of stomach absorption is that if it's a drug that's destroyed by stomach acid, you can't take it orally, right? Because it has to go through the stomach before it gets to the smooth intestine. And so it goes to the stomach, gets destroyed, and you got no drug. There are a lot of drugs or pills made now with enteric coatings, which are, acid stable. they go into your stomach and they don't get broken down. Then when they make it to your small intestine, there are other actions in the small intestine that'll help to break it down and release it. But that's another thing you need to keep an eye on, stomach acid. Okay, let's go back to the group chat. Any questions on group chat? Here's another thing you're going to learn about Dr. Slish in this class. I am the worst typist in the world. I type with like these fingers, you know, and is textbook necessary? I would say yes. I would say yes. You know, it's just not, I don't think this Zoom lecture is the best way to do it. And the guy who wrote the book was really smart. So it's really well written. So I would say yes, get the book. It's not as expensive as most textbooks. I think it's like $70 if you get the online version. And if you get the online version, let me show you. I've got a copy of it here. Oops, I gotta stop sharing and reshare. Share screen. Baby. Oh, there it is. Okay. So here's the online version of the textbook, which it took me like 2-3 years to put together. The nice thing about this is, like, as you're reading, you've got like your animations are embedded right on there. Also, you've got some glossary things here that are just pop up for you when you need them. So, and then at the end of each chapter has got a multiple choice quiz. Okay, so you can just interact with it this way. I've never passed one of these quizzes, so they're really, really hard. But then after you do that, you can just say, show me the answers. Oops, you left them blank. I don't care. I don't care. That's what my son says because he's 13. I don't care. Okay, mister. See, that's the strength of evolution, okay? Just that parents don't kill their teenage children. The strength of wanting those. Oh, I got them all wrong. See? So anyway, that's there. Also, you've got essay questions here, which you can type your answers into. It's not going to grade it, but after you type yours in, you can check the answer, which if you've got a half decent connection, it will open up when you do that. Okay. All right. Let's go back to what I was talking about. What the hell was I talking about? Pharmacokinetics, of course. Okay. Where's my chat again? Chat. I think I need a soundtrack behind me. Oh, you knew I wrote it. Oh, damn it. Damn it. Caught me. Is there a paper version that comes with that online? I believe there is. Yes, there is. But it'll be another $10. I think it's $80 if you get the hard copy too. But if you buy the hard copy, you also get access to the online version. And also, I think they've got an online version that's just PDFs of the book, which you can read too if you want. But I think my online version's better. Okay, any other questions? Are you sure? Because we're going rectal in a minute here. Once we go rectal, we don't go back. Okay, we will rectalize then. Okay, rectal suppositories. What's the point here? Okay, so the basic idea of rectal administration is twofold, I think. Well, let me just talk and I'll see how many I come up with. One is if you've got a patient, you want to give an oral drug, but the patient's vomiting or unconscious and they can't swallow the drug, you can get a rectal form, put it in the rectum, it will dissolve and they get absorbed in the rectum. Another is that first pass effect problem. If you put it in that way, it won't go through the first pass effect. Pediatrics, okay, a lot of times little kids won't swallow drugs, so how do you get a drug into them? You warn them that you'll shove it up their butt if they don't swallow it, and then don't shove it up their butt. So that's another way, another reason why rectal is used. And mainly nausea, because nausea you can throw up if you swallow the drug, so it's a good way to get it in that way. So rectal, not that big a deal. There's not that often that it's used, really. Although, I don't know if they still do this, but some years ago, people used to soak their tampons in vodka and shove them up their butt. That's the way to get drunk fast. Okay, I don't suggest doing that. Don't do that. But then I guess if you do that, it doesn't matter what it tastes like, right? You can do anything that way. Parenteral injection, parenteral absorption. So it's basically injection. And injection goes from really fast to really fast, like almost it's the second fastest way to get something in. So it goes in really fast. So we've got three different kinds of injection. Not this one. This one. Nope. This one. Okay. So this is probably, amongst my animations, one of my lamer ones, but it's, oops. I don't know what's going on. Can you see my, oops. Hang on. Can we redo questions and essays for practice? Yeah, sure, you can do them as much as you want. It won't be graded. No, it won't be graded. No, okay. So, I can't see you at the same time. Am I sharing this or am I just, no, I wasn't sharing it. That's why I couldn't see you. Okay. You are so old. Okay, so here is kind of a representation of your skin. So this is the dermis out here, or the epidermis out here. And then you've got the epidermis also includes some cells and stuff. Then the dermis is this lower layer, and this is an artery, and this is a vein. So you've got capillaries between the arteries and the veins. So this is all area where you can get absorption. Typically, there's some subcutaneous fat keeping things cushioned there. Then this is muscle, and here's a vein going through the muscle, going on top of the muscle, not through the muscle. So this is basically what your skin is like. So number of different ways you could do this. You could inject. One is by injecting just under the skin. That's subcutaneous. Of the different ways to inject, it's on the safer side because you've still got some immune cells in that area. So if you're putting bacteria in with this injection, it can still be taken care of by your immune system, possibly. Intramuscular. Okay, this absorption is a little bit slower than subcutaneous, so that's a reason why they would do this. Like you always get a flu shot this way because it's the safest way to inject. It's easy to poke it in, and it diffuses out a little bit slower, so you've got a better immune response to that. So you've got your subcutaneous and your intramuscular, and then the fastest way of injecting then is directly into a vein, right? Because if you do it, when you do it intramuscular, okay, you inject a big bolus of liquid here, and it will slowly diffuse into the capillaries, and from the capillaries into the bloodstream, and then go in. You put it directly into the vein, it's a lot faster. So those are the three different ways of injecting: IV, SC, and IM. Okay, Cora Stone, are you awake? Looks like you're laying down there. Sorry, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't call you out. You should be comfortable. Okay, so that is parenteral injection. So intravenous, IV, intramuscular, IM, or subcutaneous SC. And the speed of it going into your system is this is fastest, this is second fastest, and this is the slowest. But still, they're all pretty slow. I mean, they're all pretty fast. What are the advantages of this? Advantage, you get immediate administration. Now with oral, I said that was bad, but sometimes you want it to be immediate. So if you're in an emergency situation, like say you're in an anaphylactic shock, you don't want to swallow some epinephrine and wait till it gets into your body. You want an EpiPen, get it in fast, put it an IM injection, and off you go. So sometimes it's really important. Also, the dose can be controlled. Remember, with absorption, there was a lot of variability with how long it would take to get into your or how much we get into your body based on that first pass effect. Also, if the drug gets broken down in your stomach, like insulin, you can't take an insulin pill, your stomach would just digest it. So you have to inject it. And typically insulin is subcutaneous. Or if it's poorly absorbed in the system, like it's just a drug that doesn't get absorbed in the intestines, you have to inject it. And there is no first pass effect with injection, and that's a good thing sometimes. I guess all the time. Disadvantages. Again, very rapid can be bad. You know, if you have an allergic reaction to it, there's no time to recover from it. Only soluble drugs can be injected. If it's not soluble in something you can inject into a person, then you can't do that. Infection at the site of injection can also be a problem. That's why they always, rub it up with alcohol to clean the skin, because as you poke through the skin, you're going to take bacteria in with you if there's bacteria there. And in terms of illicit drugs or recreational drugs, people, have a hard time finding needles, so they share them with each other, and you pass blood from one person to another. Hello HIV, hello AIDS, hello hepatitis. Impurities irritate the tissues. So that's another thing, like if you've got an impure version of heroin and you just inject it in your muscle, you get a really nasty reaction to that. It can cause breakdown of the muscle and the skin cells. So impurities can be a problem. Repeated injections. So again, heroin users constantly injecting the same spot. Well, every time you poke through a vein, you cause a little rift there, a little hole in the vein. You then get fibroblasts sticking to it, or not fibroblasts, what are the clotting things? Platelets and stuff sticking to it, and you get a scar there. Now, if you did it once, it's not a big deal, but if you keep poking into that same vein, that whole vein turns into scar tissue and it closes up. And when it closes up, blood can't go through it, and that's called a collapsed vein. So you see heroin injectors, starting with your most beautiful veins, they don't open anymore. So then you go to other veins, pretty soon they're doing their legs, poking it in their eye. I mean, just crazy stuff because their veins collapse. So that's a problem. And also, another important pharmacokinetic principle is the faster it gets in, the faster it goes to the brain, the more of a rush you get from that drug, and the more addictive it is. So it's the rush that really makes it addictive. And so that can also be a problem with injection. If it's an illegal drug or an illicit drug, it can cause addiction a lot faster if it's injected than if it's taken other ways. Okay. Some chats. Chatting. Okay, what type of injection is dental Novocaine? That I'm pretty sure is subcutaneous. It's definitely not in a vein. I don't think it's in muscle. No, that's a subcutaneous injection. In the eye, yeah, that is a thing. I suggest you don't do heroin. If you don't want to stick it in your eye, don't do heroin. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so that is injection. Inhalation, another popular way of taking drugs. So inhalation then is when you bring it into your lungs, and then it goes down into the alveoli and it diffuses across from the alveoli into the interstitial space there, gets taken up by capillaries and then into your bloodstream. Let's take a look at that, shall we? Again, I'm not sure if this animation is lame or not, but it took me a long time to put together, so I'm going to make you look at it. That's not it. Oh, it is. Okay. Okay, so this first one here is like when you don't have any blood in any drug in your system. This is nitric oxide, nitrous oxide. Sorry, comes into your alveoli, goes into the blood takes it away. Comes into your alveoli, diffuses into the blood takes it away. So that's when you're first taking it in. That's the absorption. Now, once it's in your body, you reach this state of equilibrium where come on. Nitric oxide will go out and in at the same rate. So now you're at an equilibrium state. And then once you stop inhaling the nitric oxide, the blood will bring it to the alveoli and it will go back out through your breath that way. So you'll exhale it afterward. So this is kind of interesting and important if you're an anesthesiologist. So, you know, how an anesthesiologist may give you like an inhalation anesthetic, and they can control very precisely how much is in your bloodstream and how deep into anesthesia you go by controlling how much you're inhaling, because you hit this equilibrium point. And so if you, when he or she controls the concentration of nitric oxide in your inspired air, he can control how much nitric oxide is in your brain and put you deeper, bring you up. It's very easy to control that way. And on the another thing about this inhalation thing that I think I write in your book is this is how your breathalyzer works for alcohol, right? You're not inhaling alcohol, but once it's in your bloodstream, it's a volatile substance. So when your blood goes to your lungs, it equilibrates with the air in your alveoli and goes out that way. So they measure that with the breathalyzer. Okay, that's for next time. Stop that share. Okay, oops. I hope you're enjoying this multimedia extravaganza here. Okay, so that is inhalation, okay? Typically it has to be a gas or something that will volatilize easily. Like, you know, if you are smoking something, smoking is usually a plant that you're smoking. So you light that plant on fire, it gets hot, and it volatilizes whatever drugs are in it, and you suck it in along with the smoke. That's your, okay, now this, important thing to know about this is the fastest way to get a drug in, okay? Because if you inject it in your vein, it goes from your vein to your heart, right? From your heart to your lungs, from your lungs back to your heart, from your heart up to your brain, right? So you've got that route to go through. If you inhale it, it goes in your lungs, from your lungs to the left side of your heart and up to your brain that quickly. So anything injected is still in the systemic circulation, has to go through the pulmonary circulation before it can then go up to your brain. And something inhaled goes right from your pulmonary circulation into your brain. It's a lot faster. So that's the fastest way. Advantage, shortest duration, okay? In terms of duration, always the fastest way to get it in is the shortest duration. The slowest way to get it in is the fastest duration, always, because you've got to work with that absorption process before you start eliminating. Okay, advantages. Rapid and tightly controlled administration. Like I said, with the inhalation anesthetic, it's controlled really closely. It's easy to do illegal drugs this way, right? A lot of people don't want to, Alexis particularly doesn't want to poke herself in the eye with the needle. A lot of people don't. But to take an oral drug, pretty easy. Inhale a drug, pretty easy. So it's an easy way to take a drug. Disadvantages, if you're smoking something, you're always burning some plant material and it's not being broken down totally to CO2, okay? So you're getting these polyaromatic hydrocarbons, which are incomplete combustion products, and they're always carcinogenic. So whenever you smoke something, you're taking in carcinogenics. Now, there's a difference between, you know, having one or two inhalations versus smoking 20 packs of cigarettes every day. So it's not every smoked thing is the same as smoking cigarettes in terms of carcinogenicity, but that's always there. Okay, many volatile drugs are cancerous. So huffing is a thing. I don't talk about this in this class, but huffing cleaning products is just like an inhalation anesthetic, basically. You just inhaling it, and it's going into your bloodstream, going to your brain, messing with the membrane fluidity in your brain and causing an effect that way. So they're usually carcinogenic, so that's a bad thing to do. And too rapid administration, like we said before, it gets in really fast, and then if you have a reaction to it, it's hard to do anything about it. Okay, what do we got for time here? Okay, so we got a few more minutes. Let's do topical. I think topical is our last anyway. Yeah, let's do topical, and then we can review it next time we get back together. So topical means through a mucous membrane. What's a mucous membrane? Any surface between the outside world and your body, except for the digestive tract, right? Which is technically outside your body. But any other membrane would be considered topical. So that could be your skin. You could have a patch on your skin that things go through, and that's typically what we think about with topical administration. Sometimes people will get a non-polar drug like testosterone in a cream, and you put an inch of the cream on your skin, you rub it around, and it absorbs through your skin that way. Also mouth, if you put something in your mouth and you hold it there and you suck on it, it will go in through your mucous membranes. Some of it will go down your throat and be absorbed that way, but a lot of it, if it's non-polar, will go in right through your mouth. Nose, snorting drugs. A lot of people do that. Vagina, urethra, eye, basically name it. Some people take their drugs that way. So example, snorting cocaine, sublingual nitroglycerin, opiate lollipops. So they have these lollipops with opiates in it for children, right? That's how you get them in the van. They don't jump in the van if you don't do it. No, just kidding. No. Don't tell anybody I said that. No, but kids again don't want to swallow a pill, so you've got it in a lollipop. You let them suck on it, and they get it in that way. Oh, this is really cool. I was given this talk at Marywood University and talking about how opiates can be found in lollipops. And this guy put his hand up. He was a medic in like Iraq, and he said that's how they dosed injured soldiers, because they put it in their mouth and they'd suck on it until they fell asleep, and then it would fall out of their mouth, and they're okay. You're dosed enough. You can stop now. That was really neat. Okay, transdermal patches. Okay, now your absorption here is pretty rapid. If that's what you want, it's a pretty rapid absorption. It's probably slower than subcutaneous injection, but faster than oral injection or oral administration. Short duration, right? Anything that goes in fast comes out fast. Big difference here. The big thing that's caveat. I'm going to make a caveat. Everyone listen. Is the transdermal patch. So if you have a drug like nitroglycerin, you put it in your mouth, it all gets absorbed all at once. So it goes in fast and gets broken down fast. It goes away quickly. But a transdermal patch is designed so that it's got a constant release over a long period of time. Let me show you that picture. Oh, let's not do that. Sorry. That's not what I want to do. Screen share. We're going to PowerPoint at this point. Let's go home. There it is. Okay, so here's your transdermal patch. It's actually not a transdermal patch. It's a drawing of a transdermal patch, and I made the drawing, so it may not be that accurate. So anyway, you've got a lot of different layers here. The outside layer is just like a backing that holds everything together. Inside of it, you've got a drug reservoir. Okay, so this is something that's holding the drug against this next part, which is your control release membrane. Okay, so that membrane is controlling how much drug can come out per minute, per hour, or whatever. And then you've got an adhesive to keep it stuck to your skin. So you've got a reservoir here, you've got a lot of drug, and then you've got this thing controlling it. So we can slowly release the drug onto the surface of your skin. It then diffuses in, gets taken away by the venous supply here through your skin. So this then can be designed so that the drug can be released over a period of a month, right? I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% because I don't use them, but your birth control patches last for a month, I believe. So it's a really great way to control it. Oh, hang on a second. Before I do that, let's have a closer up look at it. Bum, 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 bum. So there, okay. So you've got your drug reservoir, the control release membrane that's controlling the rate, and then adhesive into your skin. So it diffuses out through there and into your body. Okay. What else do we got? Let's just finish this up, people. Yeah, well, it's 2 minutes left. Hey, you know, I lasted 45 minutes. I didn't think I would. Let me make sure I finish that. Okay, topical, rapid absorption, short duration, advantages, easy administration, rapid onset, no first pass effect. Disadvantages can cause local skin damage. Another big advantage here, which I should have in the notes that I don't, is you have that sustained release for the controlled release patches. So that's really the best way to take it. Like we have these fentanyl patches that, you know, if you want to give someone fentanyl over a period of time, fentanyl is pretty addictive drug, but you know, you can put it in this patch and it's so nonpolar, it diffuses through your skin really easily. So you can have relief of pain over a long period of time. I think they last 3 or 4 days. Although, put one of those fentanyl patches in the hand of an addict and they'll twist it, break it, put it in their mouth, and then woohoo, fentanyl. So, can be dangerous. Okay, that's about all I have today. Any questions? Anyone want to chat me? Any discussion? Okay, I think this went pretty well. I guess you would be the decider of that, but I think it went okay. We'll meet back here again Wednesday at the same time. Okay, everybody happy? I'm closing the chat. I'm closing the, here we go. 3, 2, 1.